Hello and welcome back to my channel, the Silver Fox Army. And today we're going to talk about what everybody else is talking about. And this is, I don't know, there's this big chit chatter about sister wives. I've seen pretty much all of the episodes and all the seasons. And I mean, I've forgotten some of them because it's been forever since they started this show. But I guess it evolved into something that is pretty much what I have always thought it would become, because their lives are very public. Everybody knows them. Everybody knows what's going on. The only reason why they're so popular is because of the fact that they're in a polygamous marriage. And I don't even know if marriage is the right word for it. To me, marriage is between one man and one woman. And, you know, to kind of skew that in your own and customize it in your own way, you're left on your own. When things are left on people's own will, it usually ends up to be a disaster, just like what's going on right now. And I don't know, for whatever reason that they've decided to be in a plural marriage, which is, it's really a lot to unpack with just that one word being plural marriage. I have a hard enough time being in one marriage, let alone having other individuals attached to the marriage that I am in. Doesn't matter if it's a brother husband or a sister wife. I think that it just complicates a lot of things. But be that as it may, it seems like some cultures accept that and some cultures are okay with that. And for whatever reason, however they're dealing with it, most of them, I guess, have dealt with it and have suppressed and that's the thing. When you deal with something like this in your everyday life, if you're one of the wives of just one man, you have to kind of like suppress whatever human feelings that you have, that it's only human. It's like an innate human feeling that we already have as sinners to begin with, in your own mind, in your own life, to be able to suppress that and accept it and just really forget about yourself, really forget about your own individual desires as a human being, and your capacity to have a happy life is going to be a little skewed, and it is something that you as a person would have to really give up your own self in order to accommodate this type of a marriage or a union. I don't even say marriage, because marriage to me is what God had intended it to be, which is between one man and one woman.
I want to move back to Utah. I honestly do. The thought of living here on the property with everybody else and seeing him in full functioning marriages, do I want that? No. The best that I can give today is just to pretend.
Be that as it may, the fact of the matter is that there are plural marriage in this world, and we have been kind of subjected to have a peek into the lives of these people via the show Sister Wives, and also Seeking Sister Wives, which is, I don't even know if it's going to come back or not. I guess it wasn't very popular because of Dimitri and Ashley and what has resulted out of that show and that marriage and whatever you call it. It's not really a marriage, it's a spiritual marriage, because it is not a legal marriage. I have a lot of things to say about Sister Wives. I've like I said, I don't know what is the attraction to me. It's like it's so skewed and it's so unnatural that it's like one of those things like car accidents where you cannot take your eyes off of it. I was kind of intrigued about how it worked between people. Every day is a struggle. Even though you treat your husband nice and then your husband treats you just as nice, you know, there's still, because there's two different people in one unit, that will, you'll butt heads. Eventually you'll butt heads. A lot of people, you know, some couples that I know, they say that they never have any arguments. I am very skeptical about that, because there's two people and two different opinions, two different heads, two different backgrounds trying to fit within each other. It takes a while before you get used to that person, before you're able to really understand where that person is coming from, and the same way when that person understands where you're coming from, and then you come together and you try to understand each other. It's hard enough for two people to do that, let alone several different people. Ordinarily, women are very catty. Men can usually solve problems within themselves after they have a brawl and, you know, they got it out of their system. But women can become very catty, and they can become very vengeful or just hurtful, and it's just something that's in the realm of the female character. It's prevalent and innate in women to be very catty. If you're not a catty woman, or you know, you're just catty every once in a while, you know, you're leaps and bounds ahead of me. But just for laughs, okay, to be able to have somebody else cleaning the house and cooking the food and all that, hey, you know, why not? That's great if somebody can do that. But you don't need another wife. You need a maid, or you need a you know, a helper at home, but not a wife. So it's hard enough to be intimate with your husband in every way, because men are usually not emotional and they're more logical. So it's hard enough to have that kind of a relationship with a man, let alone another person trying to have that same relationship with a man, and you're living in under one roof, especially when there are kids involved. It's very complicated. But this is exactly why in the beginning, when I was watching this, I was thinking to myself, this kind of relationship, this kind of marriage, like a plural marriage, could not possibly be sustainable. And now it's all coming out to be the same. And this, I think this is what attracts a lot of people the most when they try to do a reaction video. And I've seen a lot of reaction videos, but most of the time, let me correct myself, most of the time they don't see the side of God's whole perspective on a plural marriage. And you know, I was researching last night to see, like, why in the Bible was it allowed to have several different wives. And some of the reasoning that I found out was because there were more women at that time than there were men. And so if you're not married, you know, they didn't really have anything for women in those days. It's like women are just like baby makers. You know, they're just there to serve the husband, serve the men, and have kids. And if you're not married and you can't get married because nobody would marry you, you end up poor. This is why God didn't really say much about it, at least not in the books, not written in the books, that if he allowed it or not. But it is a sin, because he did not intend in the beginning, when he created the humans and he created Adam and Eve, he took Eve from the rib of Adam, which means that this is your helper. This is going to be who you're going to be committed to the rest of your life. And he didn't take another rib and make another wife. So therefore, he did not intend marriage to be between a man and several different wives, but he considered it a sin as well. However, there wasn't a lot of talk about it, and I don't know why. And it could be, and just this is just my opinion and my surmising, that it could be because most of the men were doing it. So if there's a sin that you don't want to shed light on, you try to suppress it, so nobody really wrote anything about it in the Bible or in their writings. So it just happened, kings would have hundreds of women, hundreds of wives in those days. But as soon as Jesus came to the world and saved the world, by dying for the world, now it's considered a sin. It's considered a sin again. However, these people who are polygamous, here we go again, it's just your own will. You're trying to customize your lifestyle into what you want in your life. So even if they say acceptable in the church that they're in, Church of Latter-day Saints, Mormon churches, that's not really, Jesus did not approve of that, and it's not approved of God. So this is the reason why most plural marriages end up in disasters, just like the sister wives. And because God did not bless that type of a union, and he is not in approval of it even to this day. And the seeking sister wives, that type of show, and those types of people who do not even have a religion that says it's okay, it's just in the same level, it's the same standard that is against God's laws. So I'm not going to talk about like what happened to Cody and Janelle and Christine and Mary and all that stuff, but I do want to make mention that, and this is at the top priority in my head when all these things came about and hit the fan, was the fact that when Robin came into the picture, Robin demanded, because I know she most likely demanded it behind the scenes, that she has to be married to Cody. She has to be married to Cody in order to adopt the kids. You don't have to be married to adopt the kids. Her husband didn't want to have anything to do with their kids after he left. And you can research that all you want. I'm not going to talk about it in this video because I really don't care. I mean, people divorce all the time. I guess this person wasn't even divorced. I mean, she wasn't. Yeah, she was. She divorced him and then married Cody, but she demanded that Cody divorce Mary so she can marry Cody and adopt the kids, so he can adopt the kids. However, that wasn't her modus operandi in the beginning. She wanted to be the head. She wanted to be the wife that is legally married to him. And of course, I'm not inside their household. I'm not in that situation. I'm not one of the wives, so I don't know what happened. I just know that when she entered the family, all these relationships start to fall apart. And especially Mary only had one child, and it's very unfortunate because she really wanted a lot of kids, but she couldn't have any more kids, only had one, Mariah. So she had to comply. She had to comply because I guess she was the one that was the most devoted to the religion, and she believes the lie that when she dies, she's gonna have so many crowns in heaven. That's not how God works. That's not how Jesus came to the world to save the world. That's not what he said. Your salvation does not hinge upon your marriage in this world. This is just their belief, and You were born by yourself. You're going to die. You're going to go into the afterlife all on your own. So you're not going to be hinged with another, your husband or your sister wife. Simple as that. So to say that, you're not going to have an eternal life because you divorce your husband, no, that's not that's not what Jesus is about. Jesus is about forgiving your own individual sin, and it doesn't hinge on a relationship. So that's all bogus. Whoever manipulated you into believing that, it's like you have your own mind. And as a matter of fact, when they divorced and Mary had a catfish relationship with someone else, he was so slighted. He was so angry about it. Like, why would you be angry? You were already divorced. Legally, you're not married. So why would you emotionally abandoned her even before you divorced her. So it's not your place to get mad. It's not your place to say, I mean, she would have left you anyway if this catfish was a real thing. She would have left you. Just accept the fact that you're not a good husband. You're not a good man, because if you abandoned your first wife emotionally, and then take on another wife, and then take on another wife, and then take on a fourth wife, and make that fourth wife your favorite, and have her, everything, all the decision was hinging on what she had to say. And you can tell that the relationship is way different, that he did have a fully functioning relationship with Robin, and Robin was using that to her advantage. And the reason why I say that is because when Cody is saying, oh, she told her kids, like, you're gonna have to accept this family, you're gonna have to respect this man and do all this. It's, of course you have to do that if you're the one who's trying to get into a marriage or into a family who you have to live with, that who's going to adopt you. You're gonna have to respect him like that he's your own. But why is he making his decision hinge on that, when all of his other kids are his own? None of those kids with Janelle and Christine are step kids. These are step kids. These are adopted kids. You were not there when they were growing up. So of course the mother has the responsibility to say to the kids, you have to respect him because this is now going to be your new dad. And for him to say that, for him to make that a reason, it doesn't really make any sense. And the fact that they got married and they're now legally married, and whoever gets the paycheck from TLC is going to be able to keep that paycheck. And Mary is divorced from him. Janelle was never married legally. Christine was never married legally. So whatever Robin and Cody decide to do with the money, it's all on them. They have no recourse. These two other ladies have no recourse for getting the money unless they're being paid separately by TLC. So they don't have no recourse. They can go to the divorce lawyer all they want. It's going to be a tough road for them to be able to gain anything, get anything from the marital estate. It's going to be hard because they're not legally married to him. So what are they going to do? They're going to have to make their own money now, or unless they were already making their money. I don't know what the financial situation was, but in a normal relationship, this is how it goes. This is how they end up with nothing. This is how they, and I don't know if Cody knows that. Probably he knows that. And he's just a jerk. To me, the way he's acting, the way he's been acting, total jerk, total gaslighter. And he's in this type of polygamous marriage, not for religious purposes, because I never hear him talk about God. You? Have you? No, I have not, unless it serves the point that he's trying to make. Then he'll say something like, no, I don't like that word. You don't say that I abandoned her, because in our religion. Then he says something about the religion, but he never says anything about God. He prays to God, like when they're to bless the food and all that stuff. But that to me is so pretentious, because it doesn't really have any meat in it. Like, he doesn't really talk to his kids. He gets mad at his kids and doesn't talk to his kids. I can't even imagine not talking to my kids. I would never ever do that as a parent. So, and the thing that happened with Isabel, she can't even have her father there after the surgery. That's very, very sad. And Gabriel and the other son, I forget his name, they both wanted to keep having a relationship with him, but then all of these, he was using the COVID rules and regulations in order to justify not to see his kids, in order not to have any more relationship with them. He thinks that just because they're of age, that he doesn't have to have a relationship with them, and the only relationship that matters to him was with Ariella, the baby, and Saul. So he's customizing it according to what he wants and what Robin wants. And you can tell just by the way they interact with each other that Robin is the one that he has the most love, or in love with. And I don't see that happening with Christine. There was a point where I thought that he and Christine were having a good relationship. I think I remember that a couple of seasons ago. But after that, like, she got really skinny, or she lost a lot of weight. But then after that, there was nothing. After that, I was really shocked to find out that they were fighting. I was really shocked that, and of course it brings out jealousy, like the 7 cardinal sins from the Holy Spirit, like jealousy. I don't know the rest, but the biggest thing is jealousy, where, of course, if you see your husband, your supposedly husband, kissing on another wife, and there's 3 other ones, including you, and you're seeing them being affectionate with one of the wives, and then, I mean, even if he comes over and becomes affectionate with me, I know that love is divided between 4 people, not exponentially multiplied. No, it's divided, because there's only so much love one person can give to intimately to another person, and it should be only one person, and that's how it's been designed. So if you're trying to tweak the design, tweak what God wants, it will never happen. This is where you're fighting. You are against God. God is who you are fighting with. So it's never going to work. It's never going to be a successful marriage. So my advice to you guys who are thinking about this, polygamy and polyamory, they're all about sex. They're all about, I mean, how can anybody, like, somebody's libido goes considerably low after their 20s and 30s. How do you sustain an intimate relationship with with 4 people when your libido keeps going down every year? if you're not like a regular person, then you've got to be some kind of a pervert. You have to have a really good job in order to support these women. And as I understand, Cody never worked a day in his life, and this is probably why he had to have this sister wife show, is so that he can be financially set. And now that he's financially set, he doesn't want multiple wives anymore, because it's Robin that he really wants to be with forever. And when Robin says, I wanted a divorce from my first husband, is because he did not want to be in a polygamous relationship. I think that's just bull. I think that's a lot of BS. And I think she really made sure that she ends up with Cody all by herself. But the sad part of it is, if Cody is not on the same wavelength as she is, and he decides to get extra wives like all the other wives left, so now I gotta get 2 more, extra wives that are younger and prettier, sexier, maybe, what is Robin gonna do? Or unless he's already in love with her so much that he just wants to be with her alone, by just her alone, and in a monogamous relationship. If he really wants to reconcile with God, he would keep just Robin as a wife, and not have relationships with the other women, not even marry, and just be with her, and get on the straight and narrow and be a Christian, and just stay with her forever, and just honor that marriage, and ask for forgiveness for the rest, because right now he's the most hated man in America. Just to be honest, I mean, everybody's talking about it. Everybody is being very disgusted about the tell-all, and so am I. I look at him now, like I can't even look at his face. It's like, cut your hair. The 80s called and said they want their hairstyle back. Why? You're almost 60. Why are you still wearing that hairstyle? And it just doesn't, you're stuck in that era. Just change your ways. And so this Robin, I don't know. Robin, stop crying. You got the best part of this deal, and everybody else has got the raw end of the deal. So what are you crying about? Just move on. Just face the world. Say, yeah, we're culpable. We did this, and that's it. Just accept it. Ask for forgiveness, and that's it. And that's my 2 cents. And I hope you guys realize this. And those of you who are thinking about having a polygamous marriage, please don't. And somebody's going to feel left out. So it's not a good, no, please don't. No. Until I see you next time, bye.